How's your posture? Are you leading from behind locked doors? Are you locking the doors of your churches and your communities, keeping particular people out? They've had their second, third, and fourth chance, thank you very much. Are you leading from behind locked doors, hoping that people will somehow get dragged in by your glow? Are you leading behind locked doors, afraid of your city, afraid of the challenging times we're in, afraid of what it means to have conversations and to listen and to hear? Or maybe it's more personal than that for us as leaders. Are we leading from behind the locked doors of our offices? We call it being busy. We call it having important things to do. And so our teams don't really know us, and we don't really know them. We talk a good game about being community, but we don't have any game when it comes to living community. And we didn't start out that way, but we found ourselves, by the tyranny of the urgent, defined that way. Maybe we too have lost our way. And as things are going through our minds, we have to ask ourselves this as we think of this uncommon fellowship. Are we, like the disciples, trapped in the competing and the comparing? What other people are doing, how big their churches is, the giftings they have, the ministries they have, the opportunities they have. So busy looking that we can't celebrate what God is doing with someone else because it's so it blows out our candles by lighting theirs. It's really hard to be an uncommon fellowship when competition defines how you are, when comparing defines how you are. I remember one time, I used to be a worship leader back in the day, and there was this time I took off being a worship leader for a while, and I felt very noble for Jesus. And, audience of one and all those other things we used to say in the UK in those days. And I remember the first week when someone else led, and I was like, it was fine. It was great. Yeah, it was. I mean, I wouldn't have chosen those songs. But you do you. Mm-hmm. And then the next week, I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I mean, I would do it slightly differently, and maybe you want to get under the spout where the glory comes out, but, it's okay. It's okay. And it took a while longer for me to realize that I needed the time off for my character, which was more important than my gifting. Maybe our problems with our posture are found in the fact we've tried this before. We did unity and we got used. We explored relationships and we got exploited. We got betrayed. And so it's safer to hide behind our offices, and it's safer to hide behind our fears and our busyness and our schedules rather than get hurt again. Maybe I don't even know how to describe the past year for all of us. Maybe the past year has just made us think, and I'm out. I'm out. And if that's us, if that's where we are, before we even think of the other practices of the early church, I want to remind us that Jesus comes through the walls of our churches and the walls of our offices and the walls of our hearts and the walls of our minds, and he comes to restore us. And he comes to reinstate us where needed. And he comes to acknowledge the scars that we've encountered along the way. But he also comes to recommission us. He recommissions us. And his vision for our lives is way more expansive than our little neighborhoods. He's making all things new. As Mike shared at the end, all things new. And he's inviting us to be involved. The thing is, when the vision for an uncommon fellowship is unclear, the cost is always too high. Always too high. And we've got to remember that part of what God is doing is he's renewing all things. And he's inviting you and I to be part of what he's doing. And for us as leaders to pick up the challenge and the invitation to run with him in this thing. So before we go any further, what kind of family are we? Is our posture one of hiding away, hoarding what we have, and hoping for heaven? That was alliteration that I'd made up just then. I feel so good right now. Or, I'm sorry, I'm also an extrovert, which means I'm not thinking, I'm just sharing. Yay, extroversion. Or is our posture one where we are defined by our mission We are a covenant people, and we are ready to go where he leads us.